they didn't have a minion at Svika's house, so they needed us to stay. They wanted to daven Meyer. I apologize.
No worries.
Yeah, no problem.
Tomorrow, we can learn at 5 o'clock or 4:30, whatever. I think 5 o'clock should be fine.
Okay.
There's plenty of time.
Well, depends when the early minion is. Mincha. Isn't it usually at, 6 o'clock?
Is it that
6:05? Yeah,
Okay.
that's
so
what it was last week.
So we could do it at 4:30 if that works better.
Oh, this is good.
Is 4:30 okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
Right.
we'll do it at
I think
4:30.
4:30 is better.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it at 4:30. So we're on
32.
base 32. And then Motzei Shabbos we'll do it in shul. We'll do it before mincha, and then this week the Navi Shir is going to be Motzei Shabbos at 9 o'clock. And then for the guys who don't come to the shul, if you're up to it, I'll do the Daf Yomi afterwards. I'll repeat it afterwards. Okay, like for George and for Elazar, whoever can't make it to shul.
Okay.
What time is the daf called for on Shabbos? The Kohen?
No, the Kohen is not out yet.
What time is mincha?
It's not out yet.
Mincha's probably 7:15.
Okay, so we can learn at 6:15.
Last Shabbos Mincha was at 7, no? Yeah.
Okay, so we can
Mincha's
learn
probably
at,
7:05.
okay, so we can learn at 6 o'clock.
Mincha at Yavne is at 6:40, I think.
What? That's
Well,
early.
yeah, you're talking Shabbos.
I'm talking about
Shabbos.
Shabbos. Okay,
And tomorrow, what
That's it.
time? Sorry.
tomorrow's 4:30 p.m.
Okay.
Lamed Beis Amud Aleph. Hachamais Kinikon Dasoy Isha Meikara. We're talking about when a woman came first to act as the aid, and therefore her aidus is not considered like two. The Tarsal of Nechemiah, and we explained Rav Nechemiah's shita like this: Rav Nechemiah Omer, Kol Makom Shemin Torah Echad. In these situations where, like by aidus isha, like that her husband died, or like this aidus for a sota, where the Torah believes one aid, we halach acharov des. Then we count. Means if one, let's say, woman shows up, and then the next group are two women, so the two out trump the one. We go after. We count the majority. Also, shtei noshim. Regarding the aidus of Anisha, achas kishtei anoshim bishechad. Like if a single man had shown up and given testimony, and then two men came, so it's mavat. So we don't say 100 women are like one woman. No, according to Nehemiah, two women trump one woman. However, shtei noshim bishechad hipagu pagu. You have two women against one man, that's like half and half. It's really only the testimony of two women is considered like the testimony of one man. The Tarte, the Psula Edus Lamali, then Igmor wanted to try to give an answer last time that we're talking about not men, but Puzzle Edus, like women or Avodim or Shvachim. So we say, no, when do we go after a majority? That means democracy. We count. Maybe that's only l'chumra, that we wanted to drink the kos. Like one person said, we saw our revelations, and two said we didn't. So we said in that situation, we would go l'chumra, make her drink. But maybe l'kula, to say that she shouldn't drink. Like two women come to say that she committed adultery, where normally we would say she doesn't drink. And then one aide comes to say that she did not commit adultery. Maybe lo azlima. We don't go after Ro. Maybe she should still drink. Kamash Malon, that we also go after Rav Deos, both lahakel and both for chumrah. Harlach mishakine. Hanoch Mishakine, Hanoch Mishakine. Mishnah, new parak, parak Shvi, Lamed Beis Amud Aleph. Elu Nemor B'chol Lashon. There are a number of parshios in the Torah that we are required to recite. Some of them, we can recite them in any language. And some have to be recited specifically only in Hebrew. So for example, Parsha Sotah, the Parsha that the Kohen has to warn her and make her take an oath in the Sotah, that can be told to her in any language, not necessarily only in Hebrew. Vidui Meiser, that after 3 years of the Shemitah cycle, he has to take a vidui that he was mafresh all the mafresh according to halacha. He can say that vidui Meiser even in any language. So reading Kriya Shema can be said in any language. Tefillah, Shmona Esrei, can be said in any language. Birchas Hamazon can be said in any language. Shvuas HaEdus, for example, I come to a person and say, you can provide testimony about such and such event that I need you. And he swears that he doesn't have testimony. Or Shvuas HaPikodim. I went to China. Before I went to China, I deposited some item with my neighbor. And then I come and I say, give me my thing back. My neighbor says, you never gave me anything. And he has to take a shvuah. He doesn't have it. So all of these items that we just mentioned do not have to be said in Hebrew. The following parshios have to be said in Hebrew. Mikra Bikurim. When he comes and says, Arami Oved Avi, and that whole parsha, in Parshas Kisavo, you have to, when you bring Bikurim, that has to be said in Hebrew. The Chalitza. You have to say, Me'ein Yevami. My Yavim doesn't want to be Miyabim. And he has to say, Lo chafatzti lekachta. And then she has to say, Kacha yaseh la'ish. All of these things have to be said in Hebrew. Brachos uklolos. When Klal Yisrael came into Eretz Canaan, they had to stand on Har Grizim and Har Eval, and the Kohanim and the Leviim would stand in the middle, and the curses and the blessings in Parshas Kisavo were recited, and they had to say Amen. So those recitations had to be in Hebrew, not in all languages. Birchas Kohanim, right? Yivarechecha, the Nesias Kapayim the Kohanim do, has to be done in Hebrew. Birchas Kohen Gadol, when the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippurim, he had to read the Parsha, Achrei Mois, and he had to be Mavarech Brachos. Those had to be done in Hebrew. Parshas HaMelech, the mitzvah of Hakel, where they came and the Melech read Parshas Dvorim, had to be read in Hebrew. Parshas Egla Rufa, you had a corpse found in between two cities. You had to measure to the closest city. The Chachamim of that city had to do a whole procedure with a decapitated calf. And there were things that had to be read there that had to be done in Hebrew. When they went out to war, the Kohen Gadol, he was a specific Kohen who wore 8 begadim like the Kohen Gadol, but his job was to go talk to the people and say, those of you who are just married can go back and haven't lived with your wife for a year, go back home. Those who haven't planted a field, go back home. All of those recitations had to be done in Hebrew. So the Mishnah wants to know Mikra Bikurim Ketzah. What exactly was the procedure by the Kriyas of the Bikurim? Because it says, V'anisa v'amarta l'fnei Hashem lokecha. That's by Parshas Bikur. Ulahalon, later on by the brachas and klalois, or hagrizim, it also says va'anu al v'im v'amru. Malahalan, the Leviim, is b'lashon hakodesh. Avkan b'lashon hakodesh. So too, by the Bikur has to be b'lashon hakodesh. Chalitza Ketzad, when you said you have to read it in Hebrew, because it says v'onsa v'amra, she has to respond and say, and then ula'alanu v'anu al v'im v'amru. By the Hargrizim it says v'anu v'amru. Ma'ala'alav b'lashon hakodesh, avkan b'lashon hakodesh. This is the source for these halachas as to why it has to be done in Hebrew. Rabbi Yehuda Omer v'onsa v'amra kacha. It's got to be said the way it's written in the Torah, which is in Hebrew. Torah b'lashon hazeh. Brachos uklalois ketza. What is this process of brachos uklos? Kivan Shav Yisrael Sayardein, Klal Yisrael, when they entered Eretz Canaan, Uvol Har Griziv Har Evel Shebeshemer, they were commanded to go to Har Griziv and Har Evel. These are two mountains. Those of you who have traveled near Shechem can see these mountains. One is green, the other is completely barren, even today. Shebetzat Shechem, Shebe'etzel Elonei Moreh, Shene'amar Halohema Be'ever Yarden. When Parshas Dvorim tells us where to do this, it says Be'ever Yarden, and Ulhal Nomer Vayavor Avram Ba'aretz Ad Mekom Shechem Ad Elon Moreh. Ma Elon Moreh Amor Lahalon Shechem, Af Elon Moreh Amor B'chan Shechem. Just like Avram went to Shechem, so the Har Grizim Har Evel episode are those mountains near Shechem. Now, what did they do? Shisha Shvatim Al Rosh Har Grizim. 6 Shvatim went up on Har Grizim. The Shisha Shvatim Al Rosh Har Evel. V'Kohanim v'Alvim v'Aaron oindim l'mata be'emtza. The Aaron and the Kohanim and Levim are in the middle, in the valley. HaKohanim makif Yisrael. Kohanim do hakofas around the Aaron, and the Levim do hakofas around the Kohanim. L'chol Yisrael mikan mikan. The rest of Klal Yisrael is on the mountains. L'chol Yisrael u'skena v'shotim v'shotim oindim u'zem izel Aaron. There's each 6 Shvatim here, 6 Shvatim here, are standing on the mountain. So the Kohanim and the Leviim are Havchuf Neim Klape Har Grizim. They turn their faces Har Grizim, Upaschu B'bracha, and they recite the brachos that are written in that parsha. Now, what bracha? Baruch Ha'ish Asher Lo Yaseh Pesel Masecha. The people standing on both mountains would say Amen. And then we'd recite all the brachas. And after they did the brachas, they would turn to our Eval and recite the klalos. And they both groups would answer Amen. Until they finished the brachas and klalos. They brought large stones. They built a mizbeach. The sadu v'sid. They covered the Torah that was written on the stones with lime. Because for love is called the Torah b'shivim lashon. They wrote the Torah in 70 languages. Remember by Erhetei. The Natlus Avonim Uval Avonim Koma. They brought the Avonim to Gilgal. That's where the Avonim were set up. We learned this when we learned Sefer Yoshua. Now, Parshas Sotah Minalan, that it can be done in any language. It can be done in any language. Tan Rabban. Mashmin osa, the choloshin sheishomat. You could tell her the things that she has to be told in any language. Alma yishoisa, why she's drinking. Ubame yishoisa, what kind of cup. Amon nitmes, what kind of violation are we talking about? Uvamehi nitmes. Alma yishoisa aliske kinu sasira. She's drinking because her husband warned her, and then she secluded herself. She drinks from a small earthenware jug. It's immaturity and jokingness. It's any kind of adultery. She did b'shoigeg b'mezid. Kokach lama, because b'shoigeg or b'oinus the waters won't work. So we want to set it up so if the waters don't work. There was a reason why they don't work. Then vidu meiser can also be done in all languages. Minola. It's a simple amira. The yolif amir misota. Any language. The leilif amir milavim. Why don't they learn from the Levim by hard reason where we said that has to be in Hebrew? Over there, by Sota, it says a simple V'omara koin le'isha. Similar here, V'omarta. There it says V'onu v'omru. They will respond and will say. Well, that's not a simple Amira, so we learn it up from Sota. Tanya Rishon Ben Yochai Oimer. Adam Omer Shvacha B'Kol Namu. Ugnusa B'Kol Ra. A person recites his praises in a quiet voice and his faults in a loud voice. We see that from Vidu Meiser. Because this says Va'anisa. It just says he did everything appropriately. And Genusa B'Kol Ram and Mikra Bikurim, because it starts by saying, Arami Ovedavi. My forefathers worshipped Avodah Zarah. Why did they daven Shmon Esrei quietly? So when people confess their sins, people won't be embarrassed. The same place where you offer a chatas, you offer an oila. And you see, there's nothing to be embarrassed about that. So lo tema genuso ela ematzaro, his pain, not his faults. Keditanya, it says by tzaras, v'tomei tomei yikra, which means you have to announce that this person has tzaras. Why? Tzorech lo yidiu tzara l'rabbi, rabbi v'vakshim al-rachman, so that the people will daven for him. Nothing wrong with telling people you're sick, because you want people to daven for you. Something happens to somebody, you have to tell the public. So the public can daven for the person. Gufa. Let's go into detail. Shimon Esrei was created to be said quietly, because in enunciating your sins, we don't want to embarrass people. But when you brought a korban chatas, korban oila, people couldn't tell the difference. Right? More, what do you mean? The love I could dam chatas lamala, dam oila lamata. If you watch carefully, the blood of a chatas is sprinkled on top of the kronos. The dam oila lamata goes below the damas, the dividing line of the mizbeah. So we see what the person's bringing. So Hasam Kohen would be under. Yeah, but the Kohen might know, but the public looking in doesn't see that detail. I chatas nekeva, ola zachar. A chatas is usually female, and an ola is male, and people can see what they're bringing. So, a sheep has a big bushy tail. Hasam ekaseh ba'al yasam, nobody knows. But tinich kivs, that's a sheep. Seira, which is a goat, which doesn't have a tail, where you could see what the genitalia is. Michael Amen. He did it to himself. His embarrassment. He bought a list, so he kissed it. He should have brought a sheep that nobody would know. He brought a goat. But the Gemara says, Chatas Tavod Zor, where everybody brings a goat. People are going to know. Also, Nichsif and Nasal, fine. He gets embarrassed. That's a good thing. The more embarrassment he'll have, the more atonement he'll have for the sin of Avodah Zarah. Then the Mishnah said, Kriya Shema, you could read in any language. Minola. Shema Yisrael. Any language that you hear and understand, you can read Shema Yisrael. Don't rabbanon. Kriya Shema kichsava divrei Rebbe. Rebbe says, no, you got to read Kriya Shema in Hebrew, where it was written. No, any language. My time of the Rebbe. Amar Kra Vahayu. Because Vahayu. Right, you have to say Vayu, which is Ba'av Yosenu. The way they're written is the way you should recite it. Any language that you hear. Who teaches Shelo Yikren Lama? If you can't read it backwards. The Rebbe Shelo Yikren Lama from Inolai. So how does Rebbe learn that you can't read it backwards? Nafkalim midvorim hadvorim. The Rabbanon dvorim hadvorim log mashmu. They don't darshan like that. The Rebbe Nami aksiv shma b'chol lashon. So he has to do something else with shema. When you read Kriya Shema, you should read it loud enough that you can hear your voice from your ears. The Chachamim hold you don't need to read it so loud. So Kriya Shema can be read in any language. Mikra din, but mitzvah and amufcha that if you read it in Hebrew. But if somebody doesn't read that, understand that. No, he says the Mishnah Berurah says better to read it in Hebrew even for somebody who doesn't understand it. So there's a mitzvah and amufcha to read it in Hebrew, but you can be yotzes not in Hebrew.
By the way, any Rabbi Sachs translates Shema. We say hear, but it's not hear. It's listen. He translates Shema as to listen
instead of hear, O Israel.
Yeah, it's listen. It's a big difference when you're listening to hearing. That's why it has to be when you say it out loud. You're listening to what you say. That's why you have a mitzvah to say it out loud. He translates as listen.
Okay.
Why do you think Gemara give this? Why do you have to more go through all the answers by a behemoth? You bring it so the sheep is covered. The genitalia, all these other things. You gave an answer. Let him suffer. So he should have said that at the very beginning instead of trying to find reasons why they.
Only by Avodah Zarah do they want him to suffer. And the other one.
I see.
Better he should bring the sheep and not be in.
Right. Okay.
Avodah Zarah, he needs the extra kapara. That's why they Dafka chose a goat where the genitalia is not covered. Everyone knows that he's bringing a chatas.
But the other ones, they're careful.
You don't need. They care for his embarrassment.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Okay. Have a good Shabbos, everybody.
Good Shabbos.
Okay.
Tomorrow 4:30. Tomorrow 4:30.